Hey guys, welcome back to Collective Perspective. It's episode 79 here. We are almost 4 years into this show. Kind of. We took a big gap after the first two episodes, but we are
We've been
four
mostly
years in.
consistent. More consistent
Uh,
than most podcasts.
this is a video that I've wanted to do for a minute. I think it's a lot of fun to look at games that are collectible and also dirt cheap because sometimes you're not in the mood to spend $200 or $300 on a complete in-box NES game. You just want something on your shelf. You want some mail, and we're going to talk about games that are potentially collectible. Not potentially, we're going to back up why they are collectible, and we're going to talk about 15, 10 each, 20 total. $15 or less though, so this is hopefully including shipping. We're using price charting numbers here, and I think they include shipping maybe in their calculations.
Also, I would argue a lot of these games, at least on my list, you could probably get them for even cheaper at like your local mom and pop stores too. Because, this isn't a game on my list, but like Halo, for example, just Halo 1, your store's probably sitting on 105 copies of it, so they're going to be getting rid of them probably for less than you would even get them on eBay for, so just because they're trying to move them.
So games like that, obviously Halo, incredibly important, and it's not going to break the bank. So go get yourself a copy of Halo, one of the most important games ever made.
Yes, it is.
Craig, oh no, I have some intro thoughts here. So I wrote this down, and then you blew my mind a minute ago. I said we're doing CIB only for this list, so there's probably not going to be any cardboard. Craig has some cardboard for us. I'm excited.
Found two that I think are arguably collectible. So
I wrote down that you can't even get Wii Sports for under $15 in 2025. That game is like 25, $30. Kind of insane.
I think our example used to always be Mario Galaxy, and that was one I checked just out of curiosity before we did this. It's like $17 and some change right now, so the economy is crashing. Game collecting is over. Pack it up.
Ports, remakes, and remasters are your friend here. So I've talked a lot about Okami and how... Actually, that's a terrible example. We're not going to talk about Okami. But a lot of times... what's a good example here? You know what? I'm not going to spoil any of them. If a game comes out again and it's readily accessible and it's a game that people really want to play, the original print, the original release, probably going to crash in price, probably going to be cheaper, and I personally have some good examples of that here.
Yeah, I do. It wasn't intentional, but a lot of the games I have on here have been ported at some point, so makes sense.
So keep in mind, you can play the newer version if that's how you prefer to play it, but these are going to be to build your collection, not necessarily play. My goal today is going to be to get Craig to buy something because he's just going to be so shook that these games are so cheap. And I also want Craig to find something for me to buy today.
Right. You know what? I think one of my cardboard ones will be one that is a game that you would never play in your entire life, but I think you might want to buy it. So, just because of how shockingly cheap it is.
Overall, just like a little fun video for you guys to kind of look at some of this stuff that should be in your collection that you might be missing. I guarantee you don't have all 20 of these. So, let's do it. Craig, go first.
Yeah, so first up I have Tomb Raider on the PlayStation 1. Tomb Raider on the PlayStation 1. CIB price right now, price charting, $14.34. Don't really got to make any arguments for this one. Obviously, one of the most influential video games of all time. I actually don't own this, so I didn't realize how cheap it was. I always just assumed it was more expensive. There's also a Sega Saturn version, but this is known as a PS1 game. So Tomb Raider. Yeah, I was shocked at this one because I thought. But I guess to be fair, this one also has greatest hits. This one also has, I think, like one of those like weird collector's editions on PS1 where it was like the three games bundled in the case with the white spines and stuff. So there's a lot of Tomb Raiders hanging out there, but just the regular old Black Label PS1 one's still dirt cheap. So
right off the bat, you make me want to go buy one because look at this piece of trash.
Oh,
gross.
Oh,
absolute garbage. I'm going to kick it off here with one that I like to talk about a lot. Great pick, by the way. I didn't know it was that cheap. Grand Theft Auto 3.
Mm-hmm.
This was a PS2 game first. Came out on PC like a month later, and then yeah, you'll see an Xbox copy, but that one was like 2 years later. So for a minute there, like all intents and purposes, this is a PS2 game. You should get the PS2 version. It's $12.69, and it's $8.72 if you want to get the Xbox version. But I suggest the PS2 one for your shelf.
I almost bought Grand Theft Auto 3 at my local GameStop last week. They had a copy. I think it was actually $10, but it had a lot of gamer juice on it, and I didn't feel like cleaning it up, so I left it behind for the next grubby gamer to pick up.
It's a real problem.
Choice. Yeah, it is a real problem, but it was a great choice. People say it's a great game. I don't own any Grand Theft Auto games actually. I think I own 4 on PS3, but it's a series I'm unfamiliar with from a playing standpoint and from a collecting standpoint. Just haven't gotten around to it, but these games are, they sold millions and millions of copies, so luckily they're influential and affordable. So
I think there's arguments to be made that like GTA 1, 3, and 5 are probably collectible and need to be on your shelf. I mean, look at how much 5 has just gone down. Like this is coming from someone that doesn't play, has barely ever touched GTA. Like these are really important games, really special titles, I suppose.
Definitely. I don't know how much Grand Theft Auto 1 is. I can't imagine it's too much though, because those first 2 games aren't super beloved, so I don't think people are crawling back to them like they would Grand Theft Auto 3.
Right.
But speaking of PlayStation 1, another PS1 game on my list, Crash Bandicoot Warped. $13.50 complete in box. This is, I would say, arguably the fan favorite Crash Bandicoot game. Not as collectible as the first game, but that's like $70 complete in box, so that's why I decided to put 3 on here.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, exactly. It's pricey, but Crash Bandicoot Warped is, like I said, the fan favorite. Just a very iconic PS1 game. When people think of the PlayStation 1, they think of the trash. Usually they think of the Crash trilogy, they think of Final Fantasy VII, they think of the Spyro trilogy. And Warped is the affordable one of the bunch. So,
and there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, if you're going to play it, it's a solid game. But
yes, it is.
Yeah, so that first print of that one has a lenticular card that goes in front of the manual, if you guys are interested in that.
And you might be lucky.
Trash.
Oh, trash. Green label trash. But, yeah, that's one I definitely think you could get lucky and probably get the lenticular cover included, and you'd probably not have to pay any extra for that. Most people probably aren't paying attention to there even being a difference.
I agree. Yeah, I wrote that one down as well. But not to worry, guys. You're still going to get 20 for this video. Quite possibly my favorite video game of all time, Super Mario 3D World. Screw the Switch. No, I don't care about the Switch version. Go play it however you want. No one's firing up the Wii U in 2025. I get that, but this game, insanely popular. Sold millions. Obviously, one of the games to have on the Wii U. It was bundled in digitally, and it's always probably going to be affordable. But this is like the first print. This is the first release, and I think it's totally worth being on your shelf for $10.90. Go get Super Mario 3D World.
What makes you think it's collectible, though? Like, is this just because it's a Mario game, or is there any other additional reasons? Or is this a little bit of bias since it's your all-time favorite game?
I think any Mario title could probably be collectible. Just
that's fair.
You know what I mean? I guess if I had to back it up a little bit more, I would say that it was like the Mario title for the console. It wasn't a launch title, but
I think a lot of people at this point in time don't even remember that Mario Kart 8 came out on the Wii U. So,
I bet that's under $15.
That's probably a cheap one too.
Yeah, Splatoon 1 probably could have made this list too. Lots of Wii U games that are just like collectible because they like Splatoon for sure is got to be dirt cheap, and it's I'm sorry if that was one of yours.
It's on my list. $8.01. It's very cheap. Splatoon 1 is very cheap. One of the Nintendo staples now, it's like they consider it like one of their pillars, main franchises. First game of the series, dirt cheap. And in terms of playability, has a unique story mode. I feel like people forget that Splatoon has single player modes. So shout out to Splatoon 1. Definitely a collectible game. First, I think it was the first new Nintendo IP since Pikmin. In between that time period. So for a long time, uh, that was the first new IP we got from Nintendo. So
Good transition there. I like that. We've talked about Splatoon
I was like,
before.
stop talking, don't keep going.
We've talked about Splatoon. It's definitely one of the. That might be like the cheapest, most collectible game you can buy right now. I honestly don't know if CIB Splatoons will ever be valuable, but like, man, if I was an investor, if I was the type of person to go buy up sealed copies of things, like, I don't know how readily available a sealed Splatoon 1 is, but that might be a good thing to keep an eye on.
Probably not that bad. They pushed the hell out of Splatoon when it came out. It was everywhere, and they launched it around the same time as Amiibo and everything else. So it's like they made a lot of copies. So there's probably a ton of old stock for Splatoon, just because they were hoping that would be like the Wii U seller. It wasn't, but they tried.
We'll knock one more off the Wii U real quick. I think Pikmin 3 is worth owning the first print of. Obviously, everything's on Switch now, which is really cool. But $11.32. You can get the third Pikmin game, first party IP, first game in a long time for the series, and I'm pretty sure it is. I think a lot of people like it. I'm pretty sure it was well received.
It's so funny too because I don't know if you were really following like Wii U game releases back when they were first coming out, but like Pikmin 3 was a weird one where it had like a short first print, and it was like actually kind of a valuable game for a while. Not like crazy valuable, but like above MSRP valuable. Before they reprinted Nintendo Selects and everything, and then it just kind of became worthless with the Switch port and everything else. But yeah, that's an interesting case where that game was like one of the Wii U games that was like expensive for no reason for a while.
I did not know that.
It's a fun fact for you. All right, next for me, got an Xbox title. You got Halo 2. So that's why I didn't use Halo 2 as my example earlier. I used Halo 1. You could get a nice CIB copy of Halo 2 for $14.61. So cutting it close, but makes the cut. Halo 2 and Halo 3 are the fan favorite Halo games, and I feel like, in terms of like what people actually want, more people actually go for Halo 2, even over Halo 1 if they're buying for original Xbox. It's kind of just the more polished, more iconic game, and I think it's arguably more collectible than the first Halo in terms of like a grander scale.
Yeah, absolutely need to own that. I'm assuming that's not the Steelbook, but the Steelbook's probably dirt cheap too.
Yeah, I don't think it's marginally different from the original, but I honestly didn't look it up.
I don't know
Can't
which
lie.
one I'd rather have. My Halo 2 needs to be upgraded, man. I have the Steelbook from like 20 years ago is when I got it, given to me, and it's rusted. It's like just rusty and ugly, and like I didn't even find out until I became a collector that it has a slipcover. Mine's obviously missing the slipcover.
It's just hanging out there.
I need to get rid of that. I need to get rid
Raw
of these
dogging
two
on the
games.
Got some upgrading to do.
Okay. This is very on the topic with what's going on in the world right now. The Last of Us,
I almost put that on my list.
11:35, guys. What are we doing? We need to own The Last of Us. You can have your remaster on PS4. You can have your remake on PS5. This is one of the most influential games, most popular games. I don't know. It's a great game. It's impacted the industry immensely, and it's $11, and you should have it Black Label on your shelf.
Yeah, it's a narrative considered so strong and so beloved that it became a TV show, and 90% of the people that watch the TV show don't know it's based off of a video game. How cool is that? So
Very cool.
my mom keeps every week when she watches an episode of the show, she asks me about it. She's like, "You knew that happened?" And I'm like, Mom, the game came out many years ago. Yes, I knew what was gonna happen. She's like, why won't you tell me? And I'm like, what's the fun in that? But that always cracks me up. I get that phone call every Monday after the Sunday premiere of the episodes.
I had not
So,
played.
shout out to my mom.
I hadn't played the second game, still haven't, and I'm watching season 2, and the big event that happens was unfortunately spoiled for me like a year ago, so that sucked.
Yeah, it's a shame that that's one of the just I feel like one of the most spoiled things in like media ever. Like no one can keep their mouth shut about it. And it's not like Final Fantasy VII or Star Wars or whereas like these things are super duper old. It's like The Last of Us isn't even a decade old yet, part two at least. So, but no one can keep their mouth shut. So,
Take it away, Craigley.
what do I got? Final Fantasy X on the PS2.
Yep,
That is $11.13. Final Fantasy X, monumental game. A very big like breakout JRPG in North America. Obviously, the games before it did super well too, but among Final Fantasy fans, this game is often held at the highest regard on top with like 6 and 7. And it's incredible how cheap this game is. There's multiple print runs of it, so if you're a variant collector, you could probably find any kind of print of this game for dirt cheap. And it's just a good one to collect and a very, very iconic game. When people think of the PS2, this is probably like one of the 10 games that almost everybody thinks of.
Yeah, I think that this... And so here we go. The IGN Best JRPGs of All Time list just came out. This was number 1, so go get it.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but
this is
I haven't beaten 10 yet. I got about halfway through it, and just kind of a funny anecdote. I remember texting one of my friends who is one of his favorite games of all time, like top 5. He loves this game, and I was like, "Yeah, it's really good, but it's really linear. I excited to see when it opens up more." He's like, "Don't get excited. It stays linear." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, it was on my list as well. I have this one, and this one's been ported to heck, so
Oh yeah.
it's just, I'm sure every time it gets a port, the PS2 one goes a little bit cheaper.
Yes, it is on everything. If you want to get a cool version, not as cheap, get the Vita version. It's just crazy that thing runs on the Vita. So, and it looks amazing. So, shout out to that port.
I think this is the one that has the weird Square Enix variant, the publisher variant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess I brought it up. I should be able to back it up. But there's a greatest hits. I think you can get it. I think there's a greatest hits with the Squaresoft publisher and the Square Enix publisher, and one of those is very difficult to find.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was that weird transition period where they were going between the merger, so there's multiple printings of this game. Like I said, cool variant game to collect.
Well, you can't get God of War 1 for $15, but you can get God of War 2 for $15. $15 exactly, and not as collectible or historically important as the first game, but I would argue that it is. I don't have to argue. It is one of the best-selling games on the platform. It is one of the things that you should own. Black Label. Pretty sure mine's greatest hits, actually, sitting over there looking like garbage.
Disgusting.
And I'll go put that one in the pile to upgrade as well. Yeah. Don't be like me. Get yourself... I think that one has 2 discs as well. That's just like a really cool one for your shelf.
Yeah, very late PS2 release. I think the 360 was actually out already. Or the PS3 was already out when it came out. So, very interesting late release from Sony. Another PS2 game on my list. Because PS2 games are just cheap.
Yeah.
We got Kingdom Hearts.
Yep.
Kingdom Hearts at $10.51. The iconic Disney Square Enix crossover. We're still getting games to this day, albeit at a very slow pace now than we used to. But the start of the series, and just an extraordinarily iconic one. Love it or hate it, Kingdom Hearts.
I did have that one as well. That's a great choice. Again, ported to heck, and is always going to be cheap, I imagine, but get yourself a clean Black Label for the shelf. We'll go with a weird one here. On the original PlayStation, Medal of Honor. It is the first game in a, kind of important franchise. For a minute there, it was neck and neck with Call of Duty, and I think a lot of people were playing these games. I think a lot of them... it got a dozen sequels. They survived until, I want to say, PS3. I don't know if there was a PS4 Medal of Honor. But just one of those military shooters with great campaigns and eventually great multiplayer that everyone had and everyone played, and just got pushed out of business by Activision, I imagine. But Medal of Honor, this is one I want to get. It's $13.77.
Crazy cheap. crazy cheap. And I've actually heard that's pretty good too. So, but we're not talking about that. Next for me, we got Devil May Cry on the PS2.
Oh, nice.
I thought that this one would be higher since the anime just came out, and I know the anime did pretty well. But no, CIB price $12.84, and part of that could be because this game had a crazy large print run as well. This got like a box bundle on PS2 as well, where it had all the games in there. So this game was printed the heck, but obviously a very iconic Capcom franchise, one of their most famous and influential ones, and it's just very beloved. Beginning to a series that is very highly beloved, but cheap probably just because, like I said, super high print, and then another game where there's HD ports to consoles right now, and it comes with all 3 games, and it's like $20, and it's like, well, you might as well just get the digital version for $20 and get the other 2 games with it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't know about that one, and I definitely don't own that one. That one get a greatest hits?
Yes, it did. I believe all 3 of them did, so.
Yeah, those are beloved. I'm going to go really modern for a second. This is a very collectible game. I don't know why it's $14.99, but Super Mario 3D Land. This game has not been ported. It's not on Switch. It's not on the Wii U. It's not on anything. $15, $14.99. You can get yourself an excellent video game to play and obviously own. I believe what I learned is that the white case is the original print of that bad boy. Do you know?
Yes.
Okay, sweet.
The red cases for the Mario games was like a much later thing in the 3DS life.
So don't get that red case garbage.
Pretty sure mine's red case.
Yeah, if you want to know what the first print is, you go over to afew.games, the website. He will explain it to you in vivid detail. But get yourself a copy of Super Mario 3D Land. It's super cheap and super... I don't know. It's not important, I suppose, but it is a very solid Mario. Just another mainline Mario game, and I think it's collectible for that reason alone.
Yeah, it's that's another one too, where if you're into variants, there's like a bajillion prints of this game too. So,
yep,
good one for that. Next up for me, last PS2 game on the list, the original Guitar Hero, only $8.32, extraordinarily cheap. One of the most famous, popular, most influential rhythm games. Obviously, it was the reason we all had a bajillion peripherals in our houses in the 2000s that you couldn't get rid of. You couldn't pay people to take them away from you. And now people are doing the opposite. They're paying hundreds of dollars to get those instruments back in their house. Yeah. Funny how that works. But yeah, the original Guitar Hero, definitely the weakest Guitar Hero, but started the franchise. So
I almost put that, but the reason I didn't is because I don't know if this was ever sold by itself without the bundle.
That's fair. I don't know, but you buy it secondhand for cheap. So
yeah,
we're not selling new copies of Guitar Hero.
Let's go with a flashback to, I think, the last episode or the one before. Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII. We talked about it. Obviously, you're going to play the PS5 one if you want to play it, but it's $15 on PSP, and it's kind of a big deal. It was kind of historical. It's a branch off of Final Fantasy VII, and that makes it collectible as it is.
Yeah, anything related to Cloud Strife is going to have some sort of value.
So go pick that bad boy up. Nothing more to add to that one.
Next up for me, for only $9.59, you can get yourself a complete in-box copy of Asteroids on the Atari 2600.
Oh wow, is that cardboard?
That's cardboard. That is a cardboard release for the Atari 2600, complete in-box, manual, the whole shebang. $9.59. Like one of the most famous arcade games of all time, one of the most famous Atari games of all time when Atari mattered. Very much collectible in terms of historical significance.
I think that... I don't know. I think that is an absolute must-have. I'm sure there's some inserts you got to worry about on an ancient console like that. I'm sorry. I'm totally not... It's not ancient, guys. I'm just messing around. But There's probably a lot of inserts you got to worry
Bunch
about.
of dudes in their 40s just click dislike and exit it out.
Um, yeah, I mean, I'm missing a lot of Atari stuff. It doesn't even cross my mind to pick up Atari 2600 stuff most of the time, and I should change that for sure. Good choice.
Yeah, there's some really cool stuff on Atari, but the really cool stuff is all really expensive, so that's why I don't even bother looking half the time. Like the old horror games and stuff like that, that'd be awesome. But those are all hundreds and hundreds of dollars, so
Right.
not what this video's about.
Maybe we should have an Atari themed episode.
Be a good time. Learning experience for both of us.
Right. Let's see, what else can I choose from this list? Why? Well, I know why. Donkey Kong Country Returns, $12.99. It's been ported twice, I think now. It's on Wii. It is $13.50, and or no, that's the where am I? It's $12.99 on the Wii, and I mean, come on, this is like they got Retro Studios to make the first game in like 15 or 20 years, and it was excellent. It was a great game, not as good as Tropical Freeze, but you should have every freaking Donkey Kong Country on your shelf. They are important games, and I don't have to add anything to it. One of the, I don't know, top 10, top 15 games that I would say is collectible on the Wii. I think you should own Donkey Kong Country Returns.
It's a great choice. I almost put that one on my list, so great minds think alike.
I wonder if the 3DS
Last
one
one
is under $15.
Oh. Probably is very cheap. I know it was for a long time, and it also has a Nintendo Selects version, so very heavily printed. But last for me, Super Nintendo game for $10.21. You could own yourself the original John Madden Football complete in box.
No freaking way it's that cheap.
It is that cheap, and it's so funny because if you look at the price chart page, then the new copies are over 1,000. Which is really funny. Like the despair is that big of a difference. But yeah, I even looked at like the last sold John Madden Football because I was the same thing. I was like, no way, it's that cheap, and it is. It's a complete in box copy sold for like $10 and some change on eBay. Little rough box, but with the manual cart, insert everything. So you know the Genesis version came out first. Yeah, but this is the Super Nintendo version, and that's inherently cooler and more collectible. So, now the Genesis version is cool too, but the just the fact the Super Nintendo version is so cheap, I think is crazy. For it being the very first Madden, that's insane to me.
It can't be that expensive on Genesis, right?
I think it's more in like the $50-$60 range.
Oh my
so
goodness.
A heavy bit more. But you know, sport games were always preferred on Genesis back in the day too, right? So. Kind of makes sense. But when you're thinking from a collector's perspective, I think, you know, first game in an iconic series, the Nintendo version.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with the Genesis one on this one. Or maybe I'll just go get both. But I need the Genesis one for sure.
Mm-hmm. But those are my 10.
What do you think about Croc? You think Croc is collectible?
I almost put it on my list just because I thought it would annoy you, but I was like, it's not really collectible as much as I love it.
All right, if you don't think it's collectible, I'm not putting it on my list. It's
hey,
$14.98.
It sold more than Banjo-Kazooie. Never forget, Croc sold more than Banjo-Kazooie.
It's $14.98 if anybody wants it. I think the last one I'm going to pick here is unbelievable. It's the cheapest game we've talked about. It's $4.80. Go buy BioShock and don't buy the PS3 one. Get it on Xbox 360.
Yeah.
Because I have a copy that I got from God knows when or where, but if you look on eBay enough, you will find it actually says exclusive to Xbox 360 on the top, on the earliest prints of that one. And I think that's really freaking cool.
Does yours have the slipcover too?
No, what the heck, Craig?
Slacking.
Is mine missing a slipcover?
It might be if it's an original print.
I'm gonna throw this whole collection in the garbage. Oh my gosh.
You've been doing it wrong all these years.
I'm gonna assume you can't get a CIB with slipcover for $4.80. But I'm just gonna assume you can get it for under $15. So keep an eye out. Get yourself a BioShock.
Yeah, I tried to avoid 360 and PS3 because I feel like that opened up the well too much. I tried to keep it old as possible, but once you get like pre PS2, it's slim pickings, dude. There's not a lot of dirt cheap games anymore. Like, there's dirt cheap stuff, but it's all garbage.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
like, these are all... You can get every game I mentioned, for example, for $113.06. That's pretty crazy. These are all, both very good games to play and iconic games that are worth having, from a collector standpoint. For under $120, it's pretty baller.
Next time I see a Redditor talking about how much game collecting is too expensive and they can't get the games they want, I'm just going to send a link to this video and let them know.
And then they're going to see that video of you with a graded Sonic and Knuckles and have the village come burn you down.
How
much would it cost for all the games you mentioned?
I don't know. You're going to have to entertain the audience while I add it up.
Uh-oh. All you do in Google Sheets is click and drag, buddy.
I'm on Google Docs.
You fool. Sheets is always superior. Trying to think of some other games I almost put on here. Yeah, Croc was an almost. Tomb Raider 3 was also an option, but I was trying to keep it one game per series. Another one, insanely cheap, Final Fantasy X-2. That was like a $6 game. That is incredibly cheap. I know the game is not nearly as beloved as the first one, but that game definitely has some defenders, and I know people like it a lot. All kind of female party, so there's stuff going for it. You got your number?
It's about $123.
Look at that. So go with my list. You'll save a few bucks, and you'll have some good games.
I put some honorable mentions in here. I guess.
Oh, yeah.
So these two barely are over $15. You got The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Obviously, it's been ported, and it's not the most beloved Zelda game. This game is $18.38, and here's why you should own it. It is the first print. It's a mainline Zelda game. It has
the soundtrack?
Yes, it has the soundtrack, and it has a hollow foil cover art. I mean, I don't care if you play it. I don't care. I've never played it. It's so freaking cool. It just feels hefty in your hands because you got 2 discs in there and a bunch of stupid inserts. It's a very cool collectible.
Like a heavy Wii game.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's totally worth owning. Go and then the other one.
Sword.
The other one is on Genesis, $15.15. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, but I know everyone already owns Sonic 2, so I don't need to bring that up.
I know that was one thing I tried really hard actually, was to find a Sonic game, and there was the only one that I was like maybe, but I was like it's not. I'd be kidding myself. Was Sonic 2 on the Game Gear was like $14 and some change, but I'm like I feel like that game is so common that you can't even call it collectible. It's like you could trip over 20 copies walking through your local game store of Sonic 2.
But that's a Majesco print, so if you actually tried to go get a non-Majesco, it's probably $30. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say more than 15 at least.
Yeah. But. Yeah. Go get some cheap games. Let us know in the comments which cheap games you go buy.
Let us know which game you were the most shocked about the price.
Yeah, absolutely.
For me, it was definitely John Madden Football. So.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
I had to go on eBay and fact check that. I was like, something's wrong. Price chart is pulling for the wrong place.
I might have to go buy that just because that's pretty insane.
Oh yeah.
I have enough. I could probably do a part 2 to this video. So let us know if you guys are into this type of cheap content.
Yes, we'll give you guys suggestions of games to buy before anyone else, and then Reddit can complain about it afterwards that all the copies are gone because we manipulated the market.
I can't wait for Kingdom Hearts 1 to go and just be gone from the internet. It's just going to be $1,000.
This is your one video that goes like mega viral.
Yeah, I was like looking around my collection.
Hundreds of thousands of views.
I was literally looking at my collections today. I was like, man, we could manipulate the market on something. All I got to do is just like go grab my copy of Arthur's Racing on the PlayStation and just tell somebody that it's a Silent Hill like, and we are good to go, dude.
Dude, that's all it takes is one viral tweet and you just absolutely obliterate the market for a game.
Everybody go pick up Arthur's Racing. I forget what the full name is. Doesn't matter.
That's it. Let's commit to it right now. Everyone watching, make a pact to go buy every copy of Arthur's Racing on eBay.
Right now.
We'll make it happen.
Thank you guys for watching. We will be back in the next week or so with another episode. It's going to be round 4 of Guess the Value. So,
See how terrible we do this time.
see you guys next time.